Welcome. I'm Ann Z of the Z Sisters Pickleball.
And I'm Carrie Z.
We're going to talk today about a very hot topic. When we're on the pickleball court, we hear all the time people falsely saying that the only way that they can get better is to play with better people. We're going to dispute that today. Carrie, what do you say?
I have a lot to say about that. There are three situations in any sport. Somebody's going to be better than you. Somebody is going to have lesser skills than you. And somebody has the same skill set as you. Those are three scenarios. If you practice those three scenarios during 1 week's time, you will automatically level up.
And I would add, as a bonus point for leveling up quicker, one day should involve some drilling, and one day may involve a lesson with a pickleball professional. You can't help but get better if you play someone your level, someone lesser than you, and someone better than you, in addition to drilling and a lesson. Now, we see a lot of pickleball players that rate themselves, and at a rec level, maybe a 3.5 to a 4.0. And then when they enter a tournament, all of a sudden they're a 3.0. Now that's called sandbagging, and it looks like from just entering that level that they are wanting to win. So let's talk about some of the psychology involved and some of the particulars of what you gain when you're playing all the three levels, Carrie.
Okay. Well, let's go with that one scenario right there. What is your ultimate goal? If your ultimate goal is to win the tournament, then yeah, you're going to enter a level that is lower than you. So you got your medal and everybody's happy and you got your cold one after. What have you actually earned? You haven't earned a whole lot. Okay, so maybe we can talk about setting goals or the process into moving forward with your pickleball.
Well, and maybe you're not even ready for competition. We have a lot of rec scenarios, and I use that term as a broad one, that you go to your local courts, and now a lot of people are finding certain places they prefer playing than others. And it might be because of who is there. Who you play with does matter. So if it's the town bully, you don't want to play with that person very often. If it's the person that makes excuses, you don't want to play with that person very often. Often we gravitate towards the positive person that makes you feel welcome and makes you feel a part of the team when you're their doubles partner, because we switch partners all the time. And so the goals might be, well, when I play with so-and-so, I want to not embarrass myself. Or it might mean that I'd hope to win a couple of games today because I'm playing maybe 8 games total. Hopefully I don't lose all 8 games.
Well, it could also be, again, let's have the goal set. So you're a 9 to 5er and this is your 1 hour of exercise. So the goal could simply be, I'm playing with anybody right now, and all I want to do is get my heart rate up. I want a little bit of sweat on the back of my neck. I want to see the sunshine, the bright blue, the clouds, and I'm enjoying everybody. That's a win right there. So again, if we can define the goals or define a win, what does that mean? Honestly, when I walk off the court in one piece, that means none of my body is really hurting. That's a win for me, because then I get to go onto the court a second time.
Well, we also know of a player, a friend of ours, who loves the social aspect. A win for her is that she has played some pickleball and she was around people. Mm-hmm. I think she works in an office solo. She doesn't get out in the world much because pandemic days, there's still some residual about that. We realize that we need to be around other people. And so for her, the win is a social time. Mm-hmm. So those could be round robins, mixers, drop-ins, anything that you're just playing pickleball, and hopefully you don't get injured, but that might be a goal for some people, is to just have some social time. Even beyond exercise, I like to be on the court because I'm around others. And they're going to probably be playing more doubles than singles.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, and it just depends on who you're playing against or who you're playing with. So if you, let's just say that you come onto a mixer, or you put your paddle right into the fence and you've got the next paddle up. So you have somebody that you haven't ever played with before. Introduce yourself, click paddles, and then you're going to say, what do you do best? And they're probably going to say, oh, I don't know. And
Well,
then you're not.
I say I'm left-handed, and I think I'm going to stand on the right-hand side of the court to start with, and I will cover the lobs. I often say that because I feel like I can still cover the court.
Mhm.
And they sort of look at me and they don't know why I'm even saying that. Why have you identified yourself as left-handed? I said, well, it's one thing, as I joke, I only tell my partners. I don't tell my opponents.
Mhm.
And that just goes back to people aren't observant. And I think that's the same thing with Carrie, what you're just saying about they don't know what they do best.
Right, right. And that's again, so you could, what you just did is you modeled for them, you named, you're left-handed and you want to go back for lobs. That means that you are physically able to do that. So those are two things that you did. How then they might have an answer or two, or you get them thinking of, oh, you know what? I really like this serve or that serve. Then you put your strategies together. So you stay close to the net. I got those lobs. Don't worry about it.
Right.
That's the beginning of strategizing with somebody that you met 2 minutes ago.
So let's say we play those two games, we have our partners set, and then we go to the next scenario where we change partners. Usually people like to play one game and then another game in case they can get the loss that they just took. They have a chance to try back at them. And now they are switching partners. So someone comes over and plays with me who I was just playing against. I often find that they like me better, me personally, when I'm their partner, because then I'm going to be encouraging and I'm not hitting hard drives or smashes at their feet or the dinks that have angles, whatever the case is, the shots that I like to hit. I find they like me a lot better. And all of a sudden it lightens the mood once again. So that switching partners can be another way to enjoy more social time because you're not just playing with the same people every time.
Right. And then when they come to my side of the net, now I get to use their superpowers and I named that superpower. I say, God, I really love that deep return of serve of yours. That gave me trouble. And they kind of look at me, they go, well, thanks. And again, that could be it right there. So my power of observation is going to help them observe. And now we strategize together in a different skill set. So we're modeling, we're starting the conversation, and then we're going from there with the different strategy because there's, like I said, there's a different skill set with everybody.
So let's say that we now are the players that are better than our partners. And what they liked was that someone was confident in decision making, set up a scenario that the middle is good, or I noticed that you hit a deep shot. So it wasn't bossing them around, but it was giving a mutual goal as partners that it's also a windy day or it's at night and the lights are hard. Let's keep the ball in the middle because often new partners will get confused as to who should go for it. So we have a strategy with a brand new person that we're playing with. But when we come off the court, then they'll say, well, I really enjoyed that because I like playing with better people. So now they've almost jinxed themselves. Mm-hmm. Because there are other things that we can learn from the other scenarios that you mentioned before, Carrie. Let's go over those.
Okay. So the players or the team, it could be singles or doubles. I prefer doubles on the pickleball court. There's only 10 feet to cover, and I like that. That you are far better than your opponents. You have a better skill set. You know how to move better, so you do 2 or 3 things better than they can do. What would you work on? What would keep your interest rather than these are so boring and I can't believe I'm wasting my free time on this court right now. So
what I do.
What's that?
What I love to do is I want to see if I can get through the entire set of points game without making an error. I want to get every single ball that is hit to me or in my direction over the net. I'm not talking about a winner. I'm trying to be as consistent as possible, keep the ball going, But what will happen is, because they're only used to hitting 3 balls in a row, I've extended my rally power into 5 rallies to go over. I'm going to win most of the points because they're going to make the error first. So that's one thing that I try when people are not my ability. I want to see if I can lengthen the point.
So I'm going to add to that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of surmise that the other skill set isn't, the other side of the net isn't as quite as high as ours. I'm going to say to my partner, I'm going to say, if I can hit the ball deep on my return of serve, I'm going to set you up for the next shot, and that's going to be the volley. Let's see if this combination can work. So now I'm putting it out into the universe that now we have a setup and basically a kill, like volleyball. You're going to set from the back row, and then you're going to smack down when you're closer to the net. Let's see if we can do that. Then all of a sudden, my partner gets all excited about it when it does happen. So now we've set up in a very easy or soft way how we won the point. We've constructed that point. And then
we've made a play, so to speak.
We made a play.
Like two shots combo. One shot will get this shot. And then they're starting to look for that next shot. Because most of the time they're just looking at each individual ball, not a whole string of shots together that makes something happen. So that's what someone will do if we have weaker opponents. Now, let's say what happens when the stakes are a little bit higher when you're playing an equal opponent.
When you're playing an equal opponent, then that's when hopefully you have, again, you've practiced a little bit. Any game, even if it's checkers, we have to be able to have some sort of practice or recall what we do well. It's our power of observations. So now it's an equal opponent. We have to figure out that we know how to hit the ball deep. We know what it feels like to put a volley away. That's our play that we've just designed. Let's stick with that. Let's just stick with that and see how far that takes us. That would be one way to play an equal opponent. What else?
Well, in addition to that, sort of the same way that you could play when you're playing a lesser opponent is that you're going to go for more consistency. Because if you decide which points are more valuable, if you miss your service return, you have given an actual point to the opponents. So the service return, in some ways, has more value than a serve. You can earn points for the serve, but if I miss my serve, I haven't lost the number. We get one chance. We get one chance by each partner, or we each get a chance to run it out. But if I can get all my service returns over against an equal opponent, now I've put the pressure back on them to come up with the third shot drop or to make the point last longer. So that's my concentration level, is to not give away the easy points. Similar to choosing, and I'm not the greatest at this. I like high risk shots because that's so fun. But if you have an easy put away, we don't have to do more with it. It doesn't have to be the most powerful. We need to get it into a part of the court where they're not.
Well, there you go. So our third scenario is somebody that is just boom. They're just smacking down, and we're just going, oh my goodness, there's so little time on the court. What are they doing to us that we can't do to them? So we're probably giving them a higher ball. It's like they're just boom, boom, boom. Okay, so we observe that. That would be one scenario. Okay, we can't, right now we're kind of frozen in our thought process because we're a little bit in shock. We could also be embarrassed, but those are the kind of things that are in your head rather than what are we observing.
The other thing is that we might be feeding right into what they like. Sometimes when we play against better opponents, they hit harder than we do. So if we give them a hard shot, that hard-hitting person is going to love that. So one way to stop that right away is to hit it softly. And a soft ball will sink quicker and be in that low position that people will often miss. So if we feel like we're being overwhelmed, Uh, it's sort of like going back to the reset idea. Don't give them what they like. Let's make something more difficult for them. And in pickleball, because we have that ability with the dink and the third shot drop to slow things down, that can drive people crazy. And then they'll start to make more errors, even the better players.
Mhm. Well, I think this is also where we've learned this on the tennis court, and is if we're losing and we're losing really fast, how do we slow things down? We might lose that game. We might, let's say we're down 7-0. It's like, okay, chances are we're going to lose this game. Why don't we try to get as many points as we can, and then we go into the second game, and then we're going to feel it a little bit more. So when we are getting just our, as Dad would say, our ears boxed back, right? I mean, it was just like, oh, now slow things down, just try to prolong the agony of defeat, and then we start over, because now we'll have a little bit of confidence, and they might have their confidence a little bit shaken.
So when you're playing an opponent that's much better, if your score is closer, that sort of vindicates you. It's not quite as embarrassing, versus a golden pickle where the server plays the whole game and wins every single point. Now, when you play that, you get back on the horse again and you give it another try. So sometimes that can show you some resiliency of, okay, we lost this time, but let's get another shot at it. The downside of it is when you get in the habit of losing, and that goes for losing every single game or most of the games, that doesn't help you produce that confidence that you were just talking about, Carrie. It's fun to try to catch up, but that's why we have to have those other opponents either. So just alone playing better people is not going to do anything for you. It's going to put you in that other mindset that you're just probably going to give up at some point. I've seen many people just by body language, their shoulders go down and they sort of get mad. And that's when we switch sides. Then they maybe want to play with one of us in many cases. And we've had that scenario with your two sons. We lose most of the matches. So we then try to slow it down and see if we can get the score closer. And occasionally we can get one of those rare games. Right. You have to have the ability to be able to say, okay, I'm not going to give up. And because it can take you down quickly. It's not fun emotionally. So that's another reason I don't suggest that you only play against people that are better than you.
And this is where the process of actually processing the loss, I can get into my car and I can put on Taylor Swift as loud as I can, but that's really not going to help me process the thought. Maybe that's what I need right then. It was like, that was just painful. But
then going to the ice cream stand when Andrea Jaeger lost at the Open on one of her comebacks, and we watched her walk right over to get the biggest giant ice cream that she could. She was processing a loss by consuming food.
Absolutely. But you know that after that initial shock has happened, then you get back on the practice court and you think, what did they do to us? What shots did they hit? And we experienced this when we were 16 and 17 years old. The two Susans from Northern California were hitting nothing but short, soft, angled return of serves to our feet. And we were just like, I don't even know if we got 2 and 3 sets or games off each set. But we went back to the drawing board, and that's where we learned how to hit that shot. That was it right there. So that painful loss, we practiced, and then we did it to other people.
We did it to the lesser people. We didn't do it to our equals at that point. We took people that weren't our level, that were lower than our level, and we tried what the Susans did to us. And pretty soon we started to figure it out. And along with that is it sort of pairs together, is once you have figured something out that works, you will then begin to learn how to win. And so then there are scenarios that the match is close. How do you not give up and deal with the nerves, or hit one of those balls that hits the back fence because you haven't experienced that before? So what do you do in those scenarios then, Carrie?
Well, I think the only way to experience it is to actually have it happen. And you might not be mentally ready for it. Again, your brain is frozen. We call it adultitis. We're thinking too much, or we can't think at all. And then, but once we've gone through that process, then we've been there. We understand that nothing bad is really going to happen. The loss is going to happen. Our family's still going to love us. Our doggies and kitties are still going to greet us at the door, and everything's okay. Then we're comfortable with that feeling of being uncomfortable. This is sports. I want to win all the time. I don't win all the time. Nobody wins all the time, not even the #1 players in the world. But they are comfortable being uncomfortable. And then that's that push through.
Well, look at what the average is for a baseball hitter. A top
Mhm.
baseball hitter only hits 3 out of 10, and they're a 300 hitter, and that is celebrated.
Well,
If they hit two and a
that's
half
Hall
out
of
of
Fame.
10, they're average.
They are the best in the world. They are Hall of Fame hitters if they've got 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10.
So that's 7 that they don't get out of 10. That's
So
a lot.
if
So
every single time you had an error, you then berate yourself or then lash out at your partner with their error, that's not going to create an environment where you're going to figure out how to be and what to do in those close scenarios at all. You'll go home and you probably won't play the game very long because that just doesn't work. And so I think that idea of I want to improve, and that's a question that I have for people watching this today. When you play pickleball, and maybe it's a social thing, maybe it's exercise, maybe it's that you just love playing this game better than other games that you've played in the past because it's so inclusive. Do you want to get better? That may not even be the case. There might be some people that go on the court, and we assume that always everyone wants to get better, but that may not be in their way of being. I mean, we are competitive people. Carrie, you and I have played competition our whole lives. We actually enjoy that feeling. And if someone has beaten me a lot of times, I'm going to keep remembering that and try and try and try until I can then come out on top, maybe at some point in the future. Doesn't mean never. And I have to be realistic about it, but it's one thing that drives me. And so my why of why I play pickleball is so that I can see self-improvement. And that's one of the reasons that I like this game after playing tennis for so long, is because it's something new that I haven't completely figured out. And I like trying to figure it out. And Carrie, you and I have had a successful doubles career in tennis, and we haven't quite figured out how we can get our best strengths with each other on the pickleball court. So we keep trying.
Well,
That's
the phrase is, yeah, we haven't done it yet. And that's where I think there's a growth mindset. There's an open-ended, yet. What do you want from this? I want to play this game until I can't play this game anymore. And just the fact that I get to be able to play the game is a win. And then I get to play it with people that I know and that I love. And then I get to play with people that I meet on the pickleball court, and now they're my pickleball friends. So all of these are wins. Does it mean that I've won all the time in the score? No. So that's basically moving the goalposts. What again, we go back to how we started. What is your goal, and what do you frame winning?
absolutely. And there is a podcast video that I'm going to put down in the description of Carrie's and my journey through tennis and the first couple of years that we played tennis as kids, how much losing we did. Now, if we had thought about it, we might not have come back to the courts, but because we enjoyed the actual activity of it and saw some improvement, that actually brings you back to the court. Like Billie Jean King used to say, you just need one great shot to bring you back to the court. So that's where I say we need to celebrate all those shots. If you make an ATP, it can't just not be recognized. We have to all cheer for each other on the court, because it might be someone's first time making an ATP, or encouraging them to even do it, because most people don't think that way. So I think with our sports background, we can hopefully help direct people into, do you want to improve? Then great, these are the things to try. So it's a person that is lesser than you, an equal to you, and one better to you. And then in addition, pickleball players by and large don't drill. What do you say about that, Carrie? What's the easiest shot that they can practice on their own?
They could practice even just without a pickleball ball. They could practice in their mind. They could do 20 reps. They could do 20. I'm doing it right now. I'm dinking 20 times over the net.
Visualization.
I just did 7 in a row, and I didn't miss any of it.
That's right.
So you don't need a pickleball court. You just use to imagine yourself, pretend. I just did it again. I hit 3 shots over the net, and I hit it ATP.
Okay, now let's say you have a basket of balls. What are you going to be? What's the easiest thing for you to practice?
I think it's the serve.
Mm-hmm.
I could be serving. I could also be just I could just put my jacket over there, and I could go to the middle of the court, and I want to aim to my jacket. So you don't need a whole lot. I would say you need 3 balls, hit 3 serves, go to the other side. If you want to work out, go run to the other side. If you want to work out, go shuffle to the other side. You want another one, go karaoke to the other side.
Or ride your bike to the courts to practice. Then you can get a little cardio on the bicycle too. There's so many ways when you're creative to do this. It doesn't have to be the same way. And I think there's a groupthink that happens with this, only wanting to play better people. It means that if I'm caught playing or seen playing with somebody who isn't my level, then I'm going to be lumped in with them. And that's not the case. People will be able to see that you can hit the ball over, and they'll ask you also to play. So it's not like they're going to disregard you because you're playing with a group. What's more terrible, I think, is when people aren't inclusive in their games and they exclude people because maybe their level. Because if I can introduce a new person into pickleball and they can have some fun with it and they want to come back, then I get a win as a partner, whether we win or not, but they enjoy playing with me or against me because I'm going to give it my all.
Well, we could discuss long, but what I do have to do right now is go back onto the big old tennis court right now. I get to teach a 9-year-old girl who's using the right grip, and she's practicing, and she's doing it. She's in the process of learning something different, and I can see improvement, and I ask if she's seeing the improvement, and then that's it right there. So do what you need to do out there. Reframe or frame your wins. Practice. Reach out to people. Either they say, yes, I want to play with you, or no. Okay, go on to the next person. So I've got to hit the court again, and we will discuss. What do you want to discuss next time, yeah?
I don't know. We'll have to come up with a good one. If you guys have an idea of something that you want us to discuss, please leave a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to Z Sisters Pickleball. And we have a webpage too. You'll see all the links in the description. But that was great talking to you, Carrie. I feel relieved that we've gotten that off our chest, because that is one of those pet peeves for me, that people think a falsehood that you only can get better by playing better people. And that is certainly not true. So thanks for the conversation today.
All right. We'll see you next time. Pickle on.
Okay. Take care.